Max Lucado controversy: the complicated life of a beloved pastor, Max Lucado, whose name is linked to uplifting Christian books and motivational talks, has been a beacon of hope for millions of people around the world for a long time. To encourage many people's spiritual paths have been changed by Luke's compassion and faith, but he has also been in trouble, even though he is one of the most well-known and loved evangelical writers and pastors of our time. This is where the story takes an unexpected turn. Max Lucas's fuss isn't really a scandal, it's more of a deep and complicated talk about faith, changing the rules of culture, and how a leader struggles with the duty to lead with both strong belief and grace. Max Lucado's scandal is much more complicated than the usual scandals involving televangelists or megachurch pastors. In his case, it's about how people's beliefs change over time and how he is deeply pulled between two very different worldviews, upholding traditional Christian doctrine and figuring out how to live in a world that is changing quickly. His controversy is about LGBT problems, traditional biblical interpretation, and the church's role in adapting to modern social changes. Lucado's journey through this storm, which includes how he dealt with public scandal, tried to make peace, and asked for forgiveness, is the story of both a preacher struggling with his own beliefs and there was disagreement in the congregation about the ever-important topics of love and acceptance, but before getting into that, it's important to know who Max Lucado is and why the controversy surrounding him shook the Christian community to its core. Max Lucado started his career as a Christian pastor and author. In the early 1980s, Lucado worked as a pastor and author. He has written over 100 books, many of which have become hits. His books, which range from daily devotionals to deep religious reflections, are known for being easy to read and welcoming. He has a special knack for breaking down difficult biblical ideas into easy-to-understand messages that connect with people from all walks of life. The books You Are Special Just Like Jesus and In the Grip of Grace by Lucado have sold millions of copies around the world, making him a well-known name in the Christian community. Lucado's ministry is based at Oak Hills Church in San Antonio, Texas, where he has been a pastor for many years. His gentle personality and open approach to ministry have drawn a wide range of people, from seasoned believers to people who are exploring faith for the first time. His voice has often been a balm in troubled times, offering comfort through natural disasters, personal hardships, and times of societal unrest. Given his status as a leading figure in modern Christianity, many people were surprised when Lucado got involved in a major controversy that put to the test the very principles he has long pushed for: compassion, grace, and understanding. A lecture by Lucado and the backlash against LGBT people are at the heart of the controversy surrounding Max Lucado started with a sermon he gave in 2004, a sermon that would come back to haunt him more than a decade later. In this sermon, Lucado talked about same-sex marriage, agreeing with the traditional evangelical view that marriage is a sacred union between one man and one woman. At the time, this view wasn't unusual or surprising among conservative Christian leaders. However, as society has changed, as people's views on LGBTIQ rights changed, so did their reviews of public figures' past comments. Fast forward to 2021, Max Lucado was invited to preach at the Washington National Cathedral, an Episcopal church with a history of supporting LGBTIQ inclusion. The invitation caused a fierce backlash from LGBT people, and their supporters remembered Lucado's previous sermon and asked if someone with his views on same-sex marriage should have such a big stage in a church known for its progressive values. Critics pointed to Lucado's 2004 sermon as proof that he was against LGBTIQ rights and called his invitation to preach at the National Cathedral as offensive and hurtful. There was swift and strong backlash, and petitions to rescind Lucado's invitation gained thousands of signatures. Many of the signatories said that Lucado's past comments were at odds with the values of equality and inclusion that the Episcopal Church and the National Cathedral in particular wanted to uphold. He issued a public apology as pressure mounted and a lot of criticism. Max Lucado's response surprised a lot of people. He wrote a letter of public apology to the people who attend the National Cathedral and to everyone else. In his apology, Lucado said he felt terrible about the pain his servant had caused and admitted that his 2004 words were hurtful and didn't show the love and care he tries to show in his ministry. Said in 2004, "I preached a sermon about same-sex marriage, and I now see that I was disrespectful, hurtful, and hurt people in ways that were devastating." He went on to say that his views on marriage had not changed. He still believed in the traditional biblical definition of marriage, but he deeply regretted the tone and language he used in the past, knowing how it had hurt people. There were several important reasons why Lucado's apology was important. First, it showed how hard it is for many Christian leaders to say sorry. Reconcile traditional biblical teachings with a growing call for LGBT acceptance and inclusion. Second, it showed that Lucado was willing to talk to his critics and listen to those who were hurt by what he said. His apology was seen by some as a rare and admirable act of humility, especially in the evangelical world where leaders are often unwilling to admit fault or change their views. But not everyone was happy with Lucado's explanation. Some critics said that his apology wasn't sincere because he wouldn't change his religious view on same-sex marriage. Hollow, they said that real forgiveness would need to fully embrace LGBT rights, which would include recognizing same-sex relationships with others, especially those in. After the incident, conservative Christians were angry that Lucado even apologized, seeing it as a betrayal of divine truth. Difference in talk. Lucado's trouble didn't stop when he said sorry. In fact, the backlash from his invitation to the National Cathedral and the public outcry that followed showed how divided Christians are on the issue of LGBT inclusion. For many progressive Christians, they said that Lucado's invitation to talk at the National Cathedral was a step backward. Having someone preach at such an important event who has a history of opposing same-sex marriage sent a bad message to LGBT people who have felt left out and marginalized by the church. Some called for stricter rules on who should be able to speak in inclusive spaces, insisting that only those who fully support LGBTIQ rights should be given a platform. On the other hand, many conservative Christians thought that Lucado's apology was pointless and even harmful. They were afraid that his willingness to "I'm sorry for preaching something that goes against what the Bible says" showed that these people were part of a larger trend of giving in on core Christian beliefs to please society. Lucado's apology was a step toward theological liberalism, which means putting modern relevance ahead of the authority of the Bible. Even though people had different opinions, the Max Lucado scandal led to important talks in the Christian community. His story made many people grapple with there is a conflict between sticking to traditional religious beliefs and loving and caring for people who feel alone because of those beliefs. Lucado has said that the controversy helped him understand the pain that many LGBT people are going through better. He also said that he hopes his church can be a place where everyone feels welcome and loved, even if they don't agree with him on all issues. The bigger picture affects how the church deals with LGBT problems. The Max Lucado scandal is a symbol of a larger fight that has been going on for decades in the Christian church over LGBT problems. The majority of evangelical leaders have stuck to the traditional view that same-sex relationships are against what the Bible says. However, as societal views on LGBT rights have changed, so have the talks in the church. There are different views in Christian groups about whether the church should stick to its traditional views on marriage and sexuality or support full acceptance and affirmation of LGBT people. Challenges faced by Christian leaders who want to stay true to their theological beliefs while also responding to the call for more inclusion. It brings up important questions about the church's role in a society that is changing quickly. How can the church stay true to its teachings while also showing the love and Christ's grace to everyone? What can Christian leaders do to have the difficult and often painful conversations about LGBTIQ problems without turning off members of their congregations? For Lucado, the controversy has been both humbling and life-changing, but it hasn't changed his theological beliefs. Ideas about marriage, he wants to be more kind and understanding in how he shares those views. His journey is a lesson that even well-liked spiritual leaders can be criticized, and that people can grow and change, even when they are in the middle of a controversy. Legacy by Max Lucado is in the middle of a scandal. The debate over Max Lucado shows how things change over time, of faith in the modern world. As society changes, the church must also figure out how to deal with new problems and issues. Lucado's willingness to say sorry for past mistakes, even after being harshly criticized, shows a rare humility and readiness to grow that many people admire. However, his story also shows there are strong disagreements within the Christian community about how to include LGBTQ people. For some, Lucado's apology did not go far enough. For others, it went too far. But no matter where you stand on the issue, Lucado's journey through this controversy is a powerful reminder that faith is not a fixed thing, but a relationship with God that changes over time. God, the one who always makes us think, be humble, and most of all love, has as Max Lucado continues his ministry. His legacy will be shaped not only by the books he has written or the sermons he has given, but also by how he handled one of the most difficult and controversial times in his career. In the end, Max Lucado's story is not just one of controversy, it is a story of faith, grace, and the power of love in the face of division.